One of my favorite things in support of what you just said is that I was shocked when I learned that humans, our place is even above the angels because we have free will and we were made in the image of God and we have the powers of creation in a way that most, in the way that angels don't. Angels are a transmission of God's will, but we can actually create angels with our will. And that's a very, very powerful state for us to hold. It's an amazing state for us to hold. And so when I have been told that our purpose as humans is ultimately tikkun olam, the healing of the world and the healing of ourselves, there's so much more behind that than the idea of just healing our childhood wounds or healing our psychological states. It's like, wow, we're really given God-given rights and powers to reach those dispersed sparks, find them, pull them out of darkness, and basically replicate for ourselves psychologically those parts of ourselves that we thought were not good or shameful or bad, and pull those back into the whole. And that's what ultimately is considered self-actualization. It's the peak of reaching a very powerful psychological healed state. And so within the human, we are a microcosm of that macrocosm that we are meant to replicate by pulling even internally those sparks that we've kind of put off into the corners, into the shadows, and pulling them into ourselves. So my next question for you, Rabbi, is the same question that put me in a path to go after my doctorate degrees. The question was a simple one. It was, if the Dalai Lama had a wife and kids, would he be the Dalai Lama? That's where we struggle. That's where we have, that's this whole idea of spiritual bypass, which I've engaged in, where I became incredible at meditating. I could go to a monastery and spend 18 hours a day meditating, and it was bliss for me. Yet, when I came into the observance of keeping Shabbat and keeping Kashrut, these were more difficult for me than meditating for 18 hours a day. So, because that was a way. And we are the only religion in the world, as I know it, that we need to be mystics in the world. We need to be mystical and still be in the world, impacting it, affecting it, still being married, still having children. Whereas if you're a mystical Christian, you can go be a priest. To me, that's easy. Or a nun, or Buddhist, or any other religion I've studied. We're the only ones that know you are still bound by the laws to procreate, have a wife or husband, have children, and that's when trouble arises. That's when the challenges come. Can you speak to that, please?
I discovered that in a different way. We had this women's program in Minnesota in the 70s. Every intelligent Jewish kid was in India or China or Tibet practicing Buddhism.
Wow.
All of a sudden they start trickling back. And many of them came to our program in Minnesota. Why did they come back? Their guru told them to. And they said, you see, they're so open-minded, they're not trying to brainwash you. But one of them, who had become literally the right-hand man of the Dalai Lama.
Wow.
Because she was brilliant. The Dalai Lama told her to go back to her tradition. Why? You see, if you practice Buddhism and you train yourself to meditate, you eventually climb the ladder of enlightenment until you reach a level of bliss where everything is just wonderful. Jews did it in warp speed. Every Jewish kid got there, got the meditation down, did the whole thing. They were devoted. And they get to the highest level of bliss, and they're feeling wonderful. And they come to the Dalai Lama and say, okay, what can we do now? He said, no.
That's it.
You don't
That's
have to
it.
do anything. You're happy. And they said, yes, so let's do something.
Wow.
Get out of here. You don't belong here.
Wow.
You're going to mess up our whole religion. You know? Go back to Judaism. Yeah. Because it's true. If we can reach the state of total bliss, we would become so active and so ambitious.
That's so funny. Wow.
Why? Because if I can relax me, I become so conscious of God and what He needs and what He wants that I will devote myself completely to Him. So bliss is not an end, it's a tool. We should all be blissful so that we can stop worrying about ourselves and do what we were born to do, and that is make God's plan work for Him.
Because that ultimately serves us.
It doesn't have to.
But it does, doesn't it?
Yes.
It doesn't have to. And that's the next level, right? So if we cannot be thinking about how it serves us, that's the next level.
That's the bliss part.
That's the bliss part. But even getting to the point where we are doing to serve is what actually evolves us to the place where we need to evolve to.
Because we want desperately to be more than human. Not the best human. You know, so when non-Jews say, you think you're better humans, you're more, you're superior. No. You be human and be happy. We'll never be happy being you. So it's a different agenda. It's a different thing.
Wow. Wow.